Yo, this is Mimic speaking, and I just want to post learning some content, but I don't feel like I should because I I I know the Crispies are onto something suspicious, something stupid that's about to happen. I don't feel like posting learning some content. Yes, but what? That's cool. But what about defeating Pibby and the darkness? What about what about the Lawrence of Master Battles? What about Gem Book of Vacation and Kindcore? Well, don't worry, we'll just get to that. Well, I'll we're actually going to get to that, but I don't feel like we should. Anyways, pre-chapter, Lifty and Shifty versus the Book. In the Honkorees Club, Elmer and Ralph welcome Sam and Max to the NML era where deathcore and J-pop kick dubstep's butt. There are gingerbread cartoons mixed into cartoons called Cookie Fusions, but Sam and Max don't know what they are. Elmer improves the detectives to Booker, and that's what he will tell you. He enslaves cookies, bullies tunes, and puts them together to create cookie fusions. 24 hours later, Lifty, Shifty, and the rest of the cartoons from Earth, Smallest, and Holdosteria, you name it, came to the auditorium for a soothing series to the kids. But there wasn't good news. In fact, they turned into scary series from the dark. In good times and bad, after Booker told every single tune, big and small, there that there are ghosts in the pages, Tucker was able to turn this auditorium into a museum for kids. But the twins of Steel are on the move where they watch them for them to die. So the plan is to get rid of those raccoon beasts, but that's not until a bear came along. He shoves their he shoves their souls into the pages the rituals will tell, so Bert and Ernie come to save the day for good. Until Tucker tells the observers book of cookie hybrids to keep them happy from a twisted angle of spirit of for death metal. For that his hand slips off from the bar, Lifty and Shifty plunge right into their doom until the deathcorious Big Bang wipes their roommates around while they survive. They have to warn Tom and Jerry. Chapter 1, Ernie's Demise. While floating through the exit, Bert and Ernie burst out of the portal and do the mamba for Tom and Jerry's cartoon rivals. At their house in the end of the dubstep race, Tom and Jerry are packing up to move to another house of death metal dehumanization. But Ernie calls for the rivals of Cat and Mouse to uncorrupt the entire race of dubstep. So Jerry has thrown back at Tom's whiskers until Bert and Ernie met the unwise thieves of deathcore. For Booker. Jerry leaves for Bert and Ernie's stupid safety. Otherwise, till he gets to the house, Bert and Ernie took down the cat for the troubles. So, so then Tom permanently locks down his freaking house of J-Core terror, but Tom is left alone with his mysteriously flown car for Bert and Ernie to enjoy. But as he gets trampled by a bulldog for wanting to save the tunes, Bert and Ernie chase after the dog, so to make a dumb breakout through the door. Tom makes the other one. Tom takes the other one. Tom takes the other one. Tom and his roommates kill time with the dog before they fry it. And instead of the dog chasing after them, it's Bert and Ernie telling the cat to stop the animal violence. As he opens the door, when he opens the windows, Bert and Ernie got them. So he has nothing to do but wait day after day, night after lonely night. The next morning, the roommates are fulfilled by a wrecking ball, and it sets its face back at their tails when Tom was fast asleep. For the demise of Death Course disturbance, Jerry was already locked up inside his house. So to save him, Tom unlocks the planks of trapped violence, where Bert and Ernie fight out the wrecking ball they pilfered. Chapter 2: Buy Their Food. For the NML era, which Elmer and Ralph already talked about, while they roam around the city streets, they get prosecuted by knives by the powers of Booker's spiritual madness. That's when Bert and Ernie's slow decline began to make a rescue for the cracks. To discover the safe permission, Tom and Jerry, Bert and Ernie get into the restaurant, but the four got booted out by the employee because there are no pets allowed. The knives of deathcore terror continue on until the friends to the very end. Great Tom and his dumb enemy Jerry Pugsy tells his origin in the shady alley where the dog catchers find him on a rainy road, and Ricky never belongs to the boodle. But suddenly they can talk by the talking syringe. Discovering how they can talk, the fight ends with the dog teacher telling them to destroy the everlasting deathcore villain. But while they sing about his friends to the end, Booker puts on a show called Friends to the End, or Dubstep Isn't Dead. Then they dine al fresco, while Booker is in charge, but for Bert and Ernie, to and fro, Booker charges at Bert and Ernie for what they did to the tasty snack. As things are starting to get easier, Pugsy gets grazed by the hand of tunes by Tom, who steals a chunk of bloody tuna. The cat's arrested for that poor cat at the end. And for Bert and Ernie, who will ever stop the book? To Booker, he sends his "Why do we care?" or "The core isn't to us." With Tom, that is time to leave. The cats are after him. But Booker, still here, is fighting along with Bert and Ernie, trying to anger him off. Jerry pulls a trap for the cat gang, along with Booker too. Chapter 3: What goes around comes around. Tom and Jerry meet a strange figure when Bert and Ernie solve to fight Booker in style. It was Robin, the girl in their dreams. She hears a knock at the can rolling down the bridge, but it's Tom and Jerry. Bert and Ernie welcoming her to the club with their snacks, of course. But after a lot of hours of plain talk, Ernie needs to stop the evil forces of the mighty cooking land. Her mother died when she was born, and her father got almost killed by an avalanche. To get away with her evil guardian named Fig and her lawyer Lickboot, for the owner of this poor house they invented with an obese skateboard dachshund named Ferdinand, she was able to take out her locket and throw it away before someone gets hurt. Ernie and Bert must find a way to sniff around with correct friends until Booker has returned for the awful nightmare they had. Chapter 4: Cole's Day with Deathcore. Vague reports of police officers to where or when the girl is missing into the straight alley and her deaf metal henchmen. To find out what they're looking for, they gotta have money. But when the song starts, Booker boomboxes in despair with "Money is such a beautiful world," or "Kinds are kind." After the police arrive to take poor Robin home, Bert and Ernie step in to make an announcement to stop the Cookie Run fusions before Burning Time releases. Bringing in the big guns are Toothy and Cuddles, raring to go, and to make friends are Tom and Jerry begging to go with her for a celebration deathcore snack, as Fig makes them home for the kitchen. While T and J try to become friends in town, Booker comes back with an army of amalgamated tunes. Calls and Toothy go gruel when Tom finishes for some blood toast, while Bert and Ernie must face a mess in the crowd, and Fig exiles Tom and Jerry to the deathcore studies with Dr. Applejack, where pets are a thing in the past. Chapter 5. It's been a long with me. It's been a long day with you. To save his friends from a mouthful of death deathcore lads, Robin gives them a second chance, while Bert and Ernie try to revive the daring end to deathcore's arrival when Fig and Lickbook suspensefully and blatantly knew that Robin's father has notification bells. Robin's father has survived the downfall of Deathbit. Jerry must get the note, but before Ernie and Bert try to tear the manhood of Death Metal down, the roommates argue over deathcore-like larceny, while Tom reads the message for his dad, Starling. But the cat and mouse and the roommates enforce Fig, trying to say goodnight to poor Robin with his allies of J-pop and punk. So Ernie tells Bert to listen to him and not lie to him. But the chickens have come to roost as Fig denotes a telegram on the loose. T and J try to escape, but were punished by god-awful piles of deathcore litter. I might sneeze. Chapter 6. Deathcore is for chumps. Soon, Bert and Ernie must destroy the animal era once and for all, as the doom lurks on Dr. Applecheck's house. They must face the core from the exit, as the pet keeper checks them straight for Fig's ancestors, but the force of Booker made Dr. Applecheck lose his mind, and God's little creatures, or VSTs, can be wonderful. As Bert and Ernie do the dumb floss all over again, the dog and the flea return in his house for help. But Ernie gets trampled by Jerry when he puts the Milkor Mood Street for Happy Tree Village. Waking the dog catchers up by setting all pets free as they warn the Melkor Breakdown Army. Again with the song stretcher, Booker decided to put on a show, I Miss You, or They're Here. Meanwhile, under attack, Tom, Jerry, Bert, and Ernie save the day by stealing Robin from an evil guardian so everything would be safe, as mysterious voices called for them. Save us. This has answered Bert and Ernie's destination, triumph over evil. And all that worked just in time for Starling's survival. Jerry packs all the blankets, knots them up into ropes, and they learn to get down to be friends. Chapter 7. My Man the Book. As they rose up to the surface for the animal curse, Fig knows that she escaped again, but B&E and Chi and J have no choice, have nowhere to find but a raft. So Bert and Ernie must face the evil courses of hell with Booker, now with mine, playing charades of Chelsea Grin's TV show. But they have to escape with a master UFO so Booker can't reach. But lucky for him, he has amalgamated cartoons for him to carry him to the sky. Fig has time to leave the stadium when Fernie thought it was over until they escaped with a raft. But the ghostly voices of the tunes said, "Help us!" So Ernie has time to think about it before Ferd jumped on the river and to catch the dang raft. But Ferd sinks after he quits. Several hours later, Booker is still catching. Bo- Booker's still catching Bert, Ernie, and Mime. Tom and Jerry woke up about this monstrous night as they perched towards the ship that almost killed poor Booker. Chapter 8. Traveled after them. The Furious into Fig and Liquid, with their hands almost at the little girl. It feels so sleazy to talk about a crisis, so they sell milk for poor Robin. And into Captain Kitty's carnival, Bert and Ernie stopped often sink their ducks in a row before they're finished. Took to Captain Kitty, Booker did a stunt called I've Done It All, or It Has All for dubstep. The saviors of Cat and Mouse tried something to eat, but enemies don't bring good food. But for Bernie time, Bert hears a free us at the river. Looking at it, maybe it was time to stop the show, but Tom and Jerry found a one-way ticket down to Ramen's Hope. Nothing will ever stop the open ribbon pass of Death Metal. But Captain Kitty and his puppet found something. It was a milk of Robin. It cost $1 million. But finally enough, the milk has decided to throw itself away to have Tom and Jerry's deathcore disappointment. So that means they found Robin's milk for distress. But little did the Cat and Mouse know that through thin and sick are the rituals that cost him the deathcore toll. Fig and Applejack hit a dead end because of one more thing. Ignore the notification bells. Tom and Jerry, they must take that little girl out of the surround sound far away in the deathcore alley. But first they call Captain Kitty one for the home. After that monstrous event, thus begins the hunt. Chapter 9. See what happens next. Dr. Applejack gathers all the cracks, big and small, to stop the ever-growing empire. Not for Booker's main wild goose chase, the villains must stop the rivals for animals' kind. First, the Doctor of Dumb Pets gets booted out of the pet catching identity for good. Right before Nutty takes the whole ice cream stand from soup to nuts, Captain Kitty went to the Ferris wheel for some dumb stupidity, but that time that Robin got beaten up by Fig is that she knows her name in the dark side of Melkor. But Kitty takes up the Ferris anyway because he didn't care that much. So Bert and Ernie call all the crooks to rebanish the Folkmel arrival for good. But alas, Tom and Jerry came to save the day and destroy the animal that comes first. What will it take to get to the curse? Jerry wakes Kitty up by the hook, and they made a deathcore chase, but Captain Kidder caught the mouse this time, but that's when the core of the accident lurches around the sphere. Chapter 10. We have to save the tunes. Two Mays caught her first, but it's a race to see who Robin gets best. And the dog catchers found a naughty raceless on the ground. But to save the day, Lumpy enjoys the ride until the two crashed into his crotch. So the girl stuck the guys and Lumpy around the gardening sky. And it's boat time. Tom, Jerry, and Robin, along with Bert and Ernie, hopped on the boat and clean sailed away from the charts to push the big red button. Before the Hatsune Miku murder time arrives, Booker lends the tunes of helping hands and feet for Tom and Jerry to scare away from Pencil Stamp Match. Soon after the loss of deathcore physics, Tom and Jerry must build speed and let the idiots fail towards the metal arc. But till the very end of For Orminator's Hope, the party crashers accidentally jumped the roof with a cartoon ram of cartoon remains and hopped in on the pig tub where pigs have fun around here. As Nutty takes the wheel for the worst. The officers are ready to the officers aren't ready to give up, so they knock out of this pig island and almost kill poor Nani before the bridge. While Captain Kitty and Mr. Perry keep arguing about the book order hell. On the home stretch, the dubstep race finally caught the bridge for Nani, who fell into Captain Kitty's hearts. Chapter 11, the final chapter. We are cooked. For Robin's Nest, Booker gets mauled by the crooks licked to clean off their pages. When Lickmoot knows that it lives with silent happiness for the Tally Hall era. But Tom and Jerry had won the race since the crooks had no idea what hit them. But to get through that, our Fig and Lickmoot and Booker is still alive on the loose for the tunes to enjoy. But sadly, the flames took the little girl away. And even Booker is still at large, so the dummies decide to leave the house before they get fried, including Booker too. But this won't last for long, as Bert and Ernie fight to the death for Booker to get Timmy Tiger back. So they party and have some fun until Tom and Jerry lend a helping hand to Robin, who never needed a fear to help with. While Fig, Lickmoot, and Ferdinand lose their crap from fighting on the way to the boat, and the core of the exit has slipped in to bring Bernie Time back alive. It's Mr. Starling's turn to put the fire out before Booker gets his chance from an evil exit. So still fighting for the right, Robin jumped to safety when Bert and Ernie vowed to kill Tom and Jerry, Steph Gordon, and leap away from the Booker's to safety. The end. Well, that story was a little bit old in 2025. But it has some origins from Bernie Time and Utonium Staff, which I have been stressing out lately for his stuff and just apologizing to him, just saying that I'm sorry for being so harsh on the Powerpuff Girls. So anyways, that's the show.